During Christmas dinner, my wife brutally imitated my stutter in front of the whole family. When I tried to smile through TT, she laughed. Look at him, he's beating like a broken down car. Maybe if we turn it off and on again, it will learn to speak like a normal. Her father gave her a high five. I quietly cleared their plates, the sound of their laughter still echoing from the kitchen. 6 months later, she stood outside my apartment, screaming at my window. Her sister sent a text, please answer her. That day, I spoke with clarity, very clear. It was supposed to be a quiet Christmas Eve, a time for family and tradition. But as we pulled up to Claire's parents' house in the quiet little town of Brooksville, I could already feel the weight of the evening pressing down on me. Something was not right. I couldn't put my finger on it. Claire was sitting distantly in the car, her face glued to her phone rather than to me, which was strange. She had been strangely distant, absent-minded, and often looked at the screen in the middle of a conversation for weeks. I should have known that this night would turn into a nightmare. We walked inside, the familiar smell of roasted meat and cinnamon filling the air, but instead of the warmth I usually felt, a cold wave of tension washed over me. We sat down to dinner and I noticed that Claire was not herself. The sparkle in her eyes was gone. The conversation at the table started to revolve around our plans for the new year, which of course meant that Claire's father, Greg, immediately started questioning me. He always did that. His interruptions made me nervous, and my stuttering started to show. I could feel my pulse in my throat as I tried to explain how we had been saving for a ski trip to Vermont. It was supposed to be a relaxing family vacation, something simple, but Claire's sudden interruption threw me off guard. Of course, she said, returning to the table. We've been saving for a trip to Vermont. It will be wonderful. I hope my husband will learn to talk like a normal person by then. I froze. A deep, unbearable knot tightened in my stomach as she began to mock me, turning my stuttering into a full-fledged performance. She exaggerated, contorting her face into something grotesque. Look at him, she said, her voice laced with sarcasm. He looks like a broken-down car. Maybe if we turn him off and on again, he'll talk like a normal person. The room was silent for a moment, and then Greg, the man who always made me feel like an inferior human being, laughed. Claire joined him. Sophie giggled from the corner of the room, and even giggled a little, although she didn't look entirely comfortable. I just sat there, trying to keep my composure, my face burning with humiliation. I could feel my heart pounding in my chest, but I did my best to stay calm. After all, it was just a joke, right? But it wasn't a joke. It was something more. It was a betrayal. I apologized quietly and went to the kitchen, trying to ignore the sound of their laughter that still echoed in the dining room. I started washing the dishes, my hands shaking as I scraped the leftover mashed potatoes and gravy into the trash. My mind was racing. Claire's words ran through my head over and over again. The sneer on her face. How could she do this to me? Her father's approval, that high five. I felt like I was suffocating. I had tried so hard to make this marriage work, to prove that I was worthy of being a part of her life. And yet, she was here, laughing at me, and her family was cheering her on. The drive home was a blur. Claire was on her phone the whole time, smiling at what she was reading. It was as if nothing had happened, as if I was just being sensitive. When we got home, I confronted her face to face. My voice was calm, but I was trembling inside. Why did you do that? Why did you make fun of me in front of your family? She just rolled her eyes. For God's sake, it was just a joke. You're too sensitive. That's why people don't want to be around you. I didn't know what to say. It wasn't the first time she'd made fun of me, but it was the first time she'd done it to my face, in front of my family. I couldn't sleep that night. I replayed that moment over and over again. Her laughter, her cruel words. The way her family pounced on her like vultures on a corpse. The next morning, when Claire was taking a shower, her phone rang several times. I looked at it. A message from one of her friends popped up. God, that video of him stuttering at dinner was so funny. Your dad's reaction was priceless. I felt my stomach twist. She had recorded me. She posted the video online so her friends could laugh. My heart sank when I saw the countless other videos she had saved, videos of me stuttering, with captions like hubby.exe stopped working and buffering. Some of her friends commented on it, saying how embarrassing it was to be around me. And it wasn't just the video. I found messages between Claire and her father making fun of me, messages with her friends calling me a burden, even one where Claire casually mentioned that she had told people I was mentally challenged to explain my stuttering. I wasn't going to let it go. I started documenting everything, screenshots, recordings, emails. I gathered our financial information, made copies of important documents, and rented a small warehouse. I wasn't going to go in blind. I had to get my affairs in order first. I consulted a lawyer who advised me to stay calm. So I did just that. I played the role of an obedient husband, but I secretly set things in motion. I started transferring small amounts of money to a separate account. Nothing big, nothing that would arouse suspicion. I was being smart. I had to be smart. I developed a plan. I was going to leave. And when I did, Claire would realize exactly what she had lost. But I didn't leave her any warning. The day I left would be the day her world would come crashing down. The hardest part, however, is pretending. Pretending that everything is fine. Smiling and nodding when she talks about our future plans, listening to her ramble on about the vacations we're going on, pretending to care when her father calls. Every part of my being is screaming to face her, to tell her everything, to demand an explanation for the videos, the texts, the betrayal, the manipulations. But I'm not going to do it. Not yet, anyway. Tomorrow I am meeting with a lawyer. The lease for our apartment is for both of us, but it is up for renewal next month, and I intend to move out long before then. I found a small one-room apartment not far from my office. It's nothing special, but it's mine. I signed the lease 3 weeks ago, and although the deposit took a bit of my savings, it's worth every penny. Slowly, when she is not at home, I move my things there: clothes, electronics, important documents, family photos. The lawyer advised me to document everything before making any big moves, so I took screenshots, everything related to our joint accounts, credit card statements, everything I could find. It turns out that Lisa was spending a lot more than I thought. Designer handbags, clothes, shoes, all of them were hidden in the back of her closet with the tags still on them. For handbags in the last 2 months, each costing over $800, were bought from our joint account. When I found the receipts, I felt my stomach twist. But that was not the worst of it. While gathering all this information, I discovered something else. Lisa was having personal lunches at work as client meetings. How did I find out? Simple, she used our joint credit card for these girls' nights out and submitted the same receipts to her company as business expenses. Double dipping. Not once, not twice, at least 18 times in the past year. And here's where it gets interesting. I work in IT, and one of my responsibilities is to work with the company's expense reporting software. More precisely, I work with the accounting department when there are technical problems with the system. I wasn't looking for this information, but when it landed on my desk, I had no choice but to take a look at it. Lisa had submitted a request to update some of her expense reports. As I reviewed these reports, a pattern became apparent. She was using the company's software to process these fake claims. And because of my position, I had access to all of this. I didn't want to know, but now I had proof. Proof that she was stealing from the company, stealing from us, for months. The more I dug, the more I realized that it wasn't just about money. It was about power, control, manipulation. She didn't care about me, really. She only cared about herself. But I won't let her get away with it. Not after everything that happened. What am I going to do? I've been preparing for this moment for weeks. And now it's finally here. Tomorrow I will meet with my lawyer again. I will make sure that everything is in place. And when everything is ready, I will leave. I won't give her any warning. I don't want her to get the satisfaction of seeing me leave with nothing. It's not just about leaving. It's about showing her that I'm more than her climax. That my stuttering doesn't define me. And soon it won't either. Now I'm ready. I'm ready. When I leave, I'll take everything I need, without warning, without remorse. The day I leave, she will realize what she has lost. Standard procedure calls for verification before approval, and that's what I told myself when I refused to consider her expense report request. Ethics, right? But I told my manager anyway that I had some concerns about possible irregularities. Not as her husband, but as an employee who follows company protocol. To be honest, I wasn't even sure if anything would come of it, but it soon did. My team leader passed the information on to the accounting department, which initiated a routine review of Lisa's recent expenses. They found a pattern, an unmistakable pattern. The results were in, and they didn't look good. But while all this was unfolding, Lisa had gone on her business trip last week. She mentioned it in passing 3 days at a regional meeting 4 hours away. She looked excited, which struck me as odd. She acted as if it was a great opportunity to network with senior management and, she said, make an impression. She packed her best outfit, left early on Thursday morning, and headed out without even kissing me goodbye. The timing, of course, was perfect. It was time to execute the last phase of my plan. I rented a small moving truck, asked 3 friends to help me, and moved out the last of my belongings. I left everything we had bought together, the sofa, the dining table, the TV, behind. It was hard, but it had to be done. I cleaned out my closet, bathroom stuff, and game console. I made sure to change my direct deposit information, redirecting my paycheck to my new account. I also transferred exactly half of our joint funds there. I didn't leave her a penny more than she deserved. I left her grandmother's ring on the kitchen table, the one she never wore. It was just a small gesture, a sign of everything I had left behind, but the cat was mine. I had it before I met Lisa, and Lisa never liked it anyway, so I took her. By Thursday evening, everything looked as if I had never lived there. I even patched up the nail holes in the walls where my posters used to hang. The apartment, the life we had built, everything was gone. And when I stood there in my empty house, I realized that it was over. I was finished, but the real beauty of that moment was that everything had worked out so perfectly. While Lisa was away, everything fell into place. First, the accounting department completed an investigation into her expense reports. The results were disappointing. Second, our landlord sent us a notice to renew the lease, which required both of our signatures. Third, my lawyer finalized the divorce papers. I hadn't planned for all of this to come together, it just happened. But sometimes the universe has impeccable timing. The divorce papers were ready, and I knew exactly what I had to do. I had already left her a short note in which I explained in no uncertain terms that I was filing for divorce. No emotional words, no accusations, just the facts. Lisa, I have moved out and am filing for divorce. Please direct all communications through my lawyer, whose contact information is attached. I have transferred 50% of our joint funds to my separate account and have kept all the household items we purchased together. Warren. I didn't even leave a love, Warren at the end. That was it. I had already sent an email to our landlord explaining that I would not be renewing the lease and included a copy to Lisa so she wouldn't be caught off guard. I wasn't going to give her a chance to twist the situation. Lisa returned from her trip on Sunday night. I knew this because my phone was bursting with notifications. 1943, where the hell are you? Where are all your things? 1947, are you serious now? You're just going to leave while I'm gone. That's very adult. 2002, you took money from our account. My dad says it's illegal. 2016, pick up the phone, Warren. This is not funny. 19 missed calls. I didn't answer any of them. I wasn't interested in hearing what she had to say. Around 10 p.m., her sister, Melon, texted me, Warren, Lisa is very upset. I know my sister can be hard, but isn't this too much? Can you at least talk to her? I didn't even hesitate. Melon, I appreciate your concern, but this is between Lisa and me. Please respect my decision. On Monday morning, Lisa was called to a meeting with HR and her boss. I found out about it later. I was busy at my new place setting up my workplace for working from home. I found out about it from Harper in accounting. She wrote to me, hey, I don't know if I should tell you, but there's some drama going on in Lisa's department. Something about expense reports. I thought you might want to know. I thanked her, but didn't explain. Not my circus. Not my monkeys. The same day, Lisa received divorce papers at work. It could not have been a worse moment for her. I hadn't planned it, but to deliver these papers when she was already having the worst Monday of her career? It was just perfect. It's been 3 days now. My new place is starting to feel like home. The cat is adjusting well, she seems happier with the extra space. I have blocked Lisa from everything except email, which I need for divorce-related communication. From what I've learned through mutual connections, Lisa has been suspended from her job while her expense reports are further investigated. She tells everyone that I hacked into her work account to frame her, but I didn't. Her father is apparently consulting a lawyer to sue me for everything. She had to explain to the landlord why she couldn't pay the rent herself. The texts did not stop, but the tone of them changed. On Monday night, I can't believe you could humiliate me like that at work. Tuesday morning, it's because of Christmas, right? It was just a joke. Forget about it. I don't know where this is going to lead, but I'm not looking back. The decision is made. I am finally free. On Tuesday afternoon, I receive a text message from Claire's father. What you did with the money is financial abuse. On Wednesday morning, it's Claire again, please, just talk to me. We can work this out. On Wednesday evening, I get another one, I'm sorry I stutter, okay? Is that what you want to hear? I didn't answer any of them. My lawyer says I have a strong case, and to be honest, I believe him. The financial distribution was fair. I didn't take anything that clearly wasn't mine, and I have documentation for everything including videos Claire secretly recorded making fun of my stutter in correspondence with her father. Do I feel bad that I basically destroyed her life in 72 hours? Maybe a little bit. But then I remember her laughter, how her father high-fived her when she made fun of me at Christmas. I remember the cruelty in her eyes, the way she called me a broken machine, the way she shared videos of me trying to talk and they all had a good laugh. No, I don't feel bad. She didn't take pity on me, so I don't owe her anything. My stuttering has actually improved since moving. The constant anxiety that I was being secretly recorded has disappeared. I sleep better. I eat better. My therapist says that this is a normal change when you leave a toxic environment. It's like I can breathe again. As for the next steps, I am continuing my divorce, continuing therapy, and focusing on rebuilding my life. I am not interested in dating anyone in the near future. I need to work on myself first. I know this report is a bit long, but a lot has happened in the last 6 months. I will update it again if something changes significantly. It's been 6 months since my last update and I wasn't planning on writing again. I decided that the story was almost over. I moved out, the divorce process began, and life slowly began to return to normal. But yesterday, what happened, and, well, it's not as good as I thought. First, I want to thank everyone for the support of my previous posts. Reading your comments helped me through some of the darkest moments of my life. A special thank you to all the stutterers who shared their stories. Knowing that I am not alone has meant more to me than you can imagine. Life after Claire. The last 6 months have been transformative. I know it sounds cliché, but it's true. My apartment is now completely mine, decorated exactly the way I want it. No one complains about my nerdy Star Wars posters or the gaming setup in the living room. My cat Pixel has declared the sunny spot by the window his kingdom. Sure, the dishwasher is broken and the upstairs neighbor persists in playing bass at strange hours, but this is home. It's peaceful. And for the first time in a long time, I feel like it's mine. I go to a speech therapist twice a month, not because I needed to correct my stuttering, but to develop better coping mechanisms for stressful situations. She taught me breathing techniques, ways to feel more in control when words get stuck. It helped a lot. From what I've learned through mutual connections, Claire was indeed fired because of an expense report issue. Not just suspended, she was completely fired. She tried to blame me, claiming that I hacked into her accounts, but the evidence was pretty clear. She moved back in with her parents for a while. Wow. She eventually found a new job, but it was definitely a step down from her previous position. Her father finally stopped threatening legal action when his lawyer apparently told him there was no case. And me? I blocked Claire from everything but email on the advice of my lawyer. Occasionally I would receive messages from unknown numbers that were obviously from her. March 12th, Warren, please just talk to me. It's really hard for me here. April 3rd, I lost my job because of you. I hope you're happy. April 17th, my dad says you planned all this from the beginning. Is that true? Or was Christmas just an excuse? I didn't answer. I just documented everything and gave it to my lawyer. Claire's sister, Melon, also got in touch several times. At first, she was clearly on Claire's side, sending long messages about how the family should work through the problems and that everyone makes mistakes. But about 2 months ago, something changed. Her messages became shorter, less protective of Claire. Last month, she sent me something that made me stop and think. Warren, I saw how unhappy she was. I understand everything now. I'm sorry for everything. I just want you to know that I don't blame you. I didn't say anything, but it was unexpected. Maybe, just maybe, there was some kind of recognition there. Who knows? Maybe things are changing for the better. I didn't hear anything from Lisa for a few days, but yesterday I was doing my own thing, just trying to have a quiet Saturday. I woke up, made some coffee, played Elder Ring, did some ironing. Around 2 p.m., I ordered a pizza, deciding that it would be a quiet evening when I could watch the new sci-fi series that everyone was talking about. Then, at 6:18 p.m., I remember checking my phone. Someone started knocking on my door. Not knocking and knocking, but as if there was a fire in the house. My stomach dropped, and this sound pierced my bones. I looked through the peephole and there she was, Lisa. She was standing there in jeans, a crumpled t-shirt, and smeared makeup, as if she had been crying for hours. My heart sank. I didn't open the door. I just stood there, frozen, with my pulse pounding in my chest. She kept knocking, then started calling my name, her voice rising with each desperate plea. I could hear her from the hallway, her voice breaking. The neighbors definitely heard it. Me? I didn't know what to do, so I moved away from the door. I turned off the TV, sat on the couch and just hoped she would give up and leave. But she didn't leave. The knocking stopped, but then I heard her voice again outside my living room window. My apartment is on the 2nd floor, so she must have gone around the side of the house where my balcony is. She was standing on the grass under my window, looking up and shouting my name. She was shouting that she needed to talk to me, that it was important, that she was sorry. I closed the blinds. My phone rang. It was Melon. 1832, Warren, Lisa is having a really bad day today. She found out that her new boyfriend is cheating on her, and I think she's having a breakdown. Is she at your house? 1834, yeah, she's screaming outside my window right now. 1835, I'm sorry, she ran away from my apartment an hour ago. I tried to stop her. 1837, please answer her, at least for a minute. I'm worried about what she might do. I'm on my way to get her, but it's at least 20 minutes away. I sat there staring at the phone. Lisa's voice was still coming from outside. The neighbors were getting the full show. Finally, I did something I hadn't done in 6 months. I opened the window. Lisa looked up, mascara smeared on her face. For a split second, I felt an old urge, the instinct to calm her down, to fix something, to make it better. But then I remembered the video, the laughter, the comment about the broken car. She immediately started talking, how sorry she was, how therapy helped her realize how cruel she had been, how the loss of her job, the divorce, all of it had humiliated her. She said she missed me, that our new relationship was a disaster, that no one understood her like I did. And then she said something that made me laugh out loud. She said she would never find a man as patient and kind as me again. Patient. The choice of the word struck me hard. It was as if she said that my whole value was in putting up with her behavior. And here's what surprised even me. I didn't stutter once when I answered. Not once. The words came out clear and balanced. Calmly. You're right, I said. I was patient. I was patient while you mocked me behind my back. I was patient when you recorded videos of me trying to speak. I was patient when you and your father laughed at me at Christmas dinner. And now my patience has run out. Her face changed as I spoke. Despair turned into something colder, something harder. You are cruel, she said. You take some kind of morbid pleasure in my suffering. You planned all of this to punish me. You organized my release. And that was it. I closed the window. I pulled down the blinds. 20 minutes later, Melon texted me that she had picked up Lisa and they were on their way. She apologized again for the situation, but by then I didn't care. The next morning I woke up feeling relieved. I know it sounds strange, but it's true. It was as if a weight had finally been lifted from my chest. As if I had said what I had to say, directly and clearly, to her face. My speech therapist told me that my stuttering often flared up because of anxiety, because I felt judged. But standing there, looking at Lisa, I felt neither anxiety nor judgment. I felt confident. The divorce will be finalized in 3 weeks. According to the last email from my lawyer, everything was going according to plan. I will take a week off to visit my parents after everything is over. It will be my first real vacation in 2 years. Life is not perfect, but it is mine again. I still stutter sometimes. The kitchen sink still leaks. But I am moving forward.